Hey guys, we are back with another episode of an incredible podcast. And today, as you can see, we have and like you guys all know, I like to give people badass nicknames. So we got the babyface killer, Isaac Schoen from Tier 1. He's the quarterback. So what's up, Isaac?
What's up? What's up?
And thanks for being on, man.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for having me.
All right, and sorry we started a little bit later than I expected. Hopefully everyone is enjoying this. And right now I'm drinking a Coke, but like we always do, we always bring out a little drink of any sort that you would like.
Oh yeah, I got a Coors.
Mm. But yeah, let's get this started. So I talked to you a little bit off camera, and this is what I'm drinking again. So with you being in California now, what is going on with Tier 1 then?
Uh, they're I don't know. They're kind of in trying to figure it out.
So how are they going to do that
They're
without the quarterback?
yeah. That's the thing is we're trying to see if I mean, the season's kind of like crazy right now. Because they don't know if things are going to open up or whatnot, and then tournaments are going to happen and stuff. So like J4 just announced that they're going to be canceled. So that's kind of like they're kind of it's kind of like I don't know, like how do we prepare for that? Like everybody's got their lives outside of HFF, so or outside of flag football. So um, they're just like, okay, well, do we still continue to kind of grind hard or wait until we get some more confirmation and then start grinding, or some more clarity, really, and then the team is still trying to figure out their own clarity too. I think we set up a good foundation, but then it's going to be really hard without a quarterback, obviously, I think especially like as I've been playing too, you just learn that the quarterback's a very, very valuable position. And I think teams that if they don't have a coach, teams that have a very strong quarterback they typically have if they have a strong quarterback, not necessarily like skill wise, but leadership wise, then the team at its core will be pretty solid.
Mm. So are you? I mean, I like you said, HFF is, one of our hobbies. Are you looking to
Right.
continue to play in California?
Mm, it's kind of like up in the air right now. I mean, I haven't been like actively pursuing just because like I don't have a big. I don't know. Like I don't know a lot of people here. I'm like the new guy. You know what I mean? So it's like I have a brother-in-law. He plays. Shout out to Cali Show. That's their team, and my cousin or my friend, my wife's cousin, he plays on that team as well. And but they're kind of in the same boat as like everybody else back home. Like they're like, there's no clarity with how the season's going, and a lot of the young guys on the team, they're like, yeah, let's practice, let's grind, let's work hard. And then some of the older guys, they're not necessarily older, they're like around my age, but they're like, well, if there's like they wanted to go to J4, and so they're like, oh, if there's no J4, then why are we going to practice, and what are we doing this for,
Okay.
and yeah.
Do they have? I mean, I'm assuming they have like little tournaments like Wisconsin does and Minnesota does like throughout the year, right? In
Yeah,
Cali.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have like their Fresno New Year, which happens around the New Year time, Christmas time, and stuff like that. That's like their big one, and then they usually have one around like Thanksgiving, I think, in Sac or something like that, maybe. And then there's
Okay.
some like in like the Sacramento, a little bit north of Fresno area. Some people will host around there, and then it depends on like there'll be a team that'll just randomly host a tournament, and
Mhm.
yeah, so
And then just for some of the audience, the nickname Babyface Killer comes because I played basketball with Isaac one time, and dude was killing on the court too. So he's killing on the court and he's killing on the field. So that's why he named the Baby Killer. Because I saw him, I was like, yeah, I let this guy shoot threes. I don't care. And dude kept training him. So that's why the nickname came from. And then and Isaac, you're also the first one to be in the incredible podcast studio. We
Ooh.
updated a little bit. We got Bruce Lee in the background with our shirt. We got our collections back here. No HFF titles yet, because we don't really play on Sundays. We don't play on Saturdays like we tell everyone. but But yeah, so let's get uh let's get going here. Oh, someone asked, do you think the Packers are trade for OBJ? No, Packers are cheap. They ain't doing nothing. And then
Packers are. Oh, how come I can't see comments? Mm.
I don't know. That I was actually wondering that too. But someone said, Isaac, watch JJK. I'm not sure what that means, but
Yeah, that's a little. Well,
and then
it's one of my
someone said,
buddies.
shout out United, Isaac Shong.
Yeah. United.
Yeah, who was United? I remember that.
United. We played when I first started. Pretty much when I first started playing, that was like probably my first official team. Um, First, yeah, I guess. But we're more like a pickup team. But yeah, we played for about 2.5 years, and then but we didn't pan out. I guess we could talk more about that later.
Yeah,
If
okay, yeah, because I do remember that team. Okay,
yeah,
all right. So let's jump onto some of the questions that I've been waiting to ask you.
yeah,
So, and we kind of touched on that. What made you start playing HFF?
yeah. So I guess that's kind of like a two-part question. So like at first I played, so like a little bit of my background, I played football since I was in sixth grade, and so then like tackle football. So started out as a lineman for 2 years, and then eighth grade played quarterback, and then freshman year um, I actually was able to start, and ever since my freshman year, then like I was just splitting time, and so then around that time, that's when like HFF was booming, and I'm like, okay, like I'm playing football. I was kind of like, I guess people would say like I'm whitewashed or whatever, right? And so then like I'm like, but I just had no like Oshkosh is a pretty small town, and like I didn't really go out that much, so it's like outside of my family, I didn't really hang out with like Hmong people. So for me, it was like, oh, that's a way for me to get involved with the Hmong community, you know.
Okay.
And then not only that, just like kind of like show off my talent too, you know. And then and so then that's kind of like the first reason why I played. So like, and not only that, but like I felt like the Valley in general like kind of had like a lot of talent, and Oshkosh too. Like I think, and so like I didn't know a lot of people from Appleton, but at that time like they already had their teams. I think like RUN was there. I mean, Hellraisers. I mean, they're from Green Bay. Um, and then I don't know. There was like a Catalyst. I think they're like a younger team, and then I think there may have been like a couple other like pickup teams or whatever. And so I'm like, okay, like when I graduated high school, I was like, all right, I wanted to try to put like Oshkosh on the map. You know what I mean? And so then, so yeah, so that was kind of like why I first started playing, to show off my talent, to show off like what Oshkosh has and whoever wants to play with us has. And so that's kind of why I started. And then so I played like a couple tournaments with a couple pickup Oshkosh teams called Last Minute, and we didn't do too bad. I mean, we won some games, but I mean we weren't like getting blown out every single game, and we were still like able to give some teams a run for their money or and win some games too. So that was pretty uh, that was pretty fun. But we were a pickup team, so we weren't always reliable. And then yeah, so I felt like after that, then that's when United came about, and then played on that team for about 2.5 years, and then I felt like it just wasn't really working out, meshing out. And so then yeah, after that, because like I stopped playing after J4, I was like, okay, I'm like I didn't want to end it that way, but then I just felt like that's just how it had to be. And so then I went like, yeah, like that second half of the season, or really that's like kind of like almost the beginning of the season when you really think about it, right? Because it's just like you have Memorial Day and then J4, and then after that there's like, yeah, Sheboygan and then Labor Day and maybe another small tournament in between that time at that time. So yeah, I just kind of like was evaluating and stuff like that, and took some time off, and then I was just like, okay, well, like why do I want to play again, right? And so it kind of came back to where it's like, okay, if I'm gonna play, um, I want to do things like the right way, like the not that like the philosophy with like United was wrong or anything like that, but like the mentality that we had initially going in is like, okay, we're gonna play the best people, and like yeah, that's always like that's always what you want in a team is to play the best people, obviously. But then that it's also very subjective, right? So like I think with me and going back to what I said before too, like me being young, like only 18, 19, playing with guys that were like 24, 25, and then not only that, but being new to the game, being new to like everybody, it was just kind of like I don't know. I needed to say stuff more, right? I needed to be like, hey, this is how we're gonna do things. This is how we're not gonna do things, and whatever. And so with tier one, then I was like, okay, if we're gonna do things, we're gonna do things the right way. We're gonna help build and develop players. We're gonna put emphasis on practice. We're gonna, kind of just do things the right way, I guess. Or and it started with not only just me, but like our captains, our leaders, and so yeah, when we created the team, that was it. And so then so the second part of my answer is like why I played was for the relationships and then just helping like people learn the game more and like fall in love with the game. I mean, I've had a couple players that like I felt like our team we had a lot of like untapped potential and we had a lot of players that played for like bad teams, and so then they were like when they played with us, like they're kind of like at first they were like, we'll see. We don't think this team's gonna do all that. We don't think this team's gonna be all that. And then all of a sudden at the end of the season, they're like, oh yeah, we could be so good. And the team, I think to a point kind of like felt like they were good already, but we were just scratching the surface. And but it's because they never had a little bit of success. Some people played on teams where they never won a game or something like that. And
Yeah.
so yeah, and so then now in our first year we made like semis and we like split third place at the Labor Day and stuff like that and put up a good fight against other teams. So yeah, it was a good run.
Yeah, I totally that part where you were saying how people were saying they were emphasizing talent over commitment, I guess you would call it. Because
Yeah,
like
yeah,
when
kind of like that. Yeah.
yeah, but because when Incredible started, I mean, I used to be pretty slim and strong. Not gonna lie, guys, I was pretty good. But so like I was always there at practice. I was always there, and then like, and I was also the captain of Incredibles. And then
Mhm.
and I mean, we had some guys. Shout out to Shong Vu. Not the most talented dude, but Shong. He's hardcore
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
football. You know, but he came to practice. He dedicated his time and everything. And then I'm like, yeah, dude, you play safety. I don't care. Like, there's way more talented players, but they skip practice. They skip everything besides game day. You know, but like they skip practice, but they show up at night to drink with us. So it's kind of like you have to come to practice to play. I completely I'm always on board with that. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. That's always something that like we always had like kind of that's always going to be a problem HFF, right? Like because it's unless you're like a Minnesota team or like DV or something like that. Like I don't know. Okay, I guess I shouldn't say that because I don't know for sure, right? But like unless you have that luxury, right, where you can always get together, I think like there's always going to be people that can't make it all the time, and so like what I would always tell people is that like um, you're going to have guys that are more talented than you, right? And you're going to have guys that are going to be more talented that don't show up. But that doesn't mean for the guys that maybe like behind them, that doesn't mean that they can't get there. Like the reason why we practice and the reason why we want these guys to be committed and come to practice is so that they can get caught up. And what I tell a lot of guys too is that like the reason why that sometimes they're not playing is because they're not sure what they're doing on the field. And I told them like you gotta the reason why you practice is so that you make these mistakes and then they don't happen in the game and then you know what's going on in the game. Like I tell people like we can't be making we can't make mistakes during game time. Because it's game time, and the mistakes that you need to make them right now. And if you do make mistakes in the game, because mistakes are obviously going to happen, those are mistakes that we can easily correct, and those are the mistakes that we want. Things that are easily correctable, things that you can tell me what you did. Especially with young players, right? You'll be like I'll tell like people like we have our bands, and they'll be like they literally tell you the route, right? It'll be like 5 to 6 slant or something like that, and then they might run something else, and then I'm like and this happens at practice. Sometimes I'll be like, this was the play call. Like, what happened? And then they'll be like, I don't know what that route is, and I'm just like, okay, well, here now, like this is how the route is, you know. I'm like, and this is why we need that's why we need you guys to come to practice so that in a game, if you're in a game, then you don't know what this route is, then we can correct that at that time. You know, those are mistakes that should be made at practice and not in the game. You know,
Yeah.
and once we get you guys caught up to speed and you guys can go full speed, okay, now we can really compare you to, you know, our top talent. And then not only that, but it's like, okay, if you're committed and the drop off between a guy that's really good and you is not that much, then it's like, okay, well, this guy might be more talented, but okay, we'll go with the more committed person because that's what we want the team to like. That's what we want the team to represent. That's what we want people to know that, hey, like people care about this, and we're gonna go with the people that do care. You know, not that these guys don't care also, but it's like, hey, this guy cares a little bit more, and it's finding that median between like, okay, how can we? Because you want to play your talent too, so it's like you gotta you gotta find that fine line. It's tough.
Yeah. No, like I said, I completely agree with you. And the one thing that always bothered me was like we practiced like once a month back then. And it was like you couldn't come to that one time, you know, like it was
Yep.
once a month you couldn't come. So that was the one thing that always bothered me. But yeah, but
Yeah.
I totally 100% agree with you regarding the practice. People come to practice over, you know, talented people because unless they were like super talented, like some of the dudes that I've seen. So
Right, right. And even then, like, I mean, I'll just say, you know, obviously Trevor is like one of our best. He's probably like, you know, one of our best receivers, one of our best players in general, right? But there was like, you know, there's a time where it's like, okay, he didn't show up to like any practices leading up to a tournament. So then that time I was like, hey, like I can't start you. And he's like, okay, yeah, I get it. Like, you know, he understood, and he was like, yeah, like, I mean, he still played obviously, but it's like, okay, you know, I can't start you this game because we have this guy that has been showing up, and we have guys here that like know what they're doing, and they showed up. So and he's just like, yeah, I respect that. You know.
and then one more thing on the first question I have was do you remember Oshkosh Titans?
Yeah. I remember Titans. I played like like one time with them, and then like I was like in like eighth grade or something like that. I was just like a kid, and then yeah, I played pretty bad. Not gonna
Yeah,
lie.
because that was because I lived in Oshkosh for 2 years, and then
uh,
so I know some of those Oshkosh guys. Yeah, but they did win Green Bay July 4th one year.
mm-hmm. Yeah. I think honestly, I think like if those guys kind of stayed together, and I don't know, I don't know like how their infrastructure was, but I feel like they could have been a solid team.
Yeah, they were all older dudes though.
Yeah, they were older, but
Yeah,
I
they were
think
older
I
guys.
see
Yeah.
like Oshkosh still has talent, but then it's just like getting guys out, and I think like Oshkosh is a small city, so like it's always I'm sure the talent that we had out there, it was somebody's brother or cousin or nephew or something like that. So like like to me, I can't get these guys out, but if we were to play, then I think these guys would have been able to get these younger guys out and get there and you know make form a pretty talented team in my opinion.
Mhm. But yeah, just want to give
So
Titans a shout out because, like I say, I know a lot of those guys. I hung out with a lot of those guys too when I was down
yeah.
there. Yeah. All right, so move on to the next one. If your team didn't exist, and obviously if Incredibles didn't exist, if they asked you to, what team would you like to play quarterback for?
Yeah, any team like if I could honestly like BV um just because like the way that they play I feel like matches my style. Like when you watch them play, or when I watch them play at least, like they're very systematic, very like methodical, and that kind of reflects like even like my offense, very like you know you just pick your spots all the time, you know what I mean. And like I'm not really like a big play type of quarterback. I mean I can be. That's kind of when I came out, that's kind of like how I was. Like I was running around scrambling, actually like running the ball and then running the ball and then throwing it deep to Trevor. And then I think that's kind of like what people noticed about me first. They're like, oh, you know, this kid is pretty quick. Um, he's can, you know, throw jump balls to Trevor, which is not that hard to do, but but you know, you can do that. And then that, you know, they're just like, you know, flashy plays. But yeah, like I think when I started to establish my offense more, then and started like especially with tier one, like then you can really see like kind of my system, where we're running quick passes, quick screens, try to set up fake screens, um, fake screening goes kind of and stuff like that. Um, Unfortunately, I wasn't able to like establish a run game, but yeah, that comes back to practice. So, and I know Andrew don't want to talk about practice. So,
Because the funny thing too is KO King. We call him KO. I don't know if you guys knew
uh,
that, but that's his nickname. I do remember back in the day he kept telling us about you. And I don't. I mean, I'm not sure how much younger you are than I am, but I
I'm
do remember he kept saying that.
24, turning 25.
Damn, you only. Damn, man, that's why. I'm old as hell. That's why. I'm 32. I don't look 32 besides my badass mustache, um, but yeah, King. I remember King KO did tell us about this kid from Oshkosh because he's from Oshkosh, but but he's super young though. And then I seen you play, but until that one time, when we came to play with you guys at in Appleton.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, but I was trying to recruit you to play with us that summer.
yeah.
Yeah. So like until then, I was like, damn, dude, that kid can throw, man. He like that was pretty like, and I do apologize I didn't put you on my top list because when I was talking about mom because I did forget about you, but I'm like, yeah, dude, you do throw a pretty nice fast like spiral type ball, man. So I do
Yeah.
apologize I didn't put you on my list. Um,
No, it's all good. It's all good.
but I think if you continue to play, I think you will get that title because I honestly believe that throwing wise for Wisconsin, I don't see many people throwing better than you. Like I mean, you have like Ty and Lai.
Hmm.
They run. They're obviously they're more runners than
Right,
throwers.
right.
But you're like a true pocket passer.
Yeah, yeah,
Mm.
yeah. I would say that too. Like that's always been my game. Like even like in high school, like I mean, I ran the ball too. Like if you watch the film when I actually played, but but I would run sometimes too. But I was really like I feel like my pocket presence is what was is kind of like what helped me like get to the like be able to compete with the other guys, right? Because it wasn't like I felt pressure and then. It wasn't like I felt pressure and then I'm like looking to zoom out right away. It's like, okay, I feel it. I'm willing to sit in there and like and tackle it. I'm willing to sit in there and then take a hit and still get the ball out. Or I'm able to just move just like, a couple steps to my left or to my right and then deliver the ball out. That was kind of like I feel like always my game, one of my strengths. And so I feel like when like especially like in my first year with tier one, right? Like we had some like I don't know. I guess I'll always say this because I'm biased as a QB. Like we had so much talent at wide receiver, right? And so like everybody would be like, dude, you need to run. Like you have grass. Like linebackers are just bailing, and we play spread too anyway. So they're like, there's nobody in the middle. Like just run, right? But I'm like in my head, I'm like, well, if I hold on to this ball for like an extra half a second, I know that my receiver is going to get there, and I know that I can get the ball there, and so we can get a completion, or we can, I can get 5 yards, but I'd rather take 10 or something. That was just me being greedy, and so, and so I think like in our second year, I started to look to run a little bit more, and there were some tournaments where I was like a little bit forced to run more. I guess a good example was like in Wausau, I was forced to run more because we were pretty thin at wide receiver. We had like our defensive players playing wide receiver. So guys I never threw the ball to playing wide receiver. And so then I had to take the yards because that was almost the better option.
Uh, that's good because so this brings up my next question. And for you guys that don't know me, I play quarterback. I was pretty good. I led the team in passing yards, passing touchdown, rushing yards, rushing touchdown. So, yeah. But next question is what's more important to you then? A good receiving core or a good O line?
Yeah, I think
Like, what do you find more important in each
yeah,
event?
yeah, yeah. I think it's O line, honestly. Like so I think when you like look at all the teams that have won, like it's the O line that is I feel like their strength. I mean, like BV's always got a strong O line. When Demons, I don't know too much like past when I played. So like when I played, it was Demons taking like literally everything. I think they repeated. when I first started playing. And then and then as United, we did beat Demons. So, but
Say louder, man.
yeah, and then and then what is it? I mean, Villagers were a strong team. They had a strong O line. Um, and I think especially like when you look at their past like couple runs, strong runs that they made, I think their O line is really what stands out to me. Their O line and their tight ends, um, they really stand out to me. And then yeah, BV always has a strong O line. Demons, who else? Monsters. Their O line was monsters. Um,
Yeah,
who else
one
was
of my favorite
strong?
teams.
Yeah, yeah, they're a tough team. What is it? Who else? Yeah, but anyways, yeah, like at the end of the day, it comes down to trenches, and then those guys can move the chain. So like in short yardage situations, it was so easy for them to be like, okay, just hand the ball off, or when they were in situations where they need to come back, their O line can hold their O line can hold D line for like a few seconds, even against a strong strong D line. They can give the quarterback time when the quarterback needs time, and things like that. Whereas like I like no offense to my guys, but like I played with some pretty weak O lines where they're not weak, I would say, but they just had no chemistry. Like they just don't like it's hard. Guys couldn't we just couldn't get guys to come out to practice. They were they were busy or they're far and stuff like that. And so then like there's just no chemistry. They'd be thinking, some guy, they'd send a blitz and they'd be thinking, oh, the center's gonna pick him up, and then the center doesn't pick him up, and then we let a guy free in the A gap, and then I get sacked, and I'm like, okay, and that was, I mean, it's a little bit my fault, um, but yeah, it's tough to play with that too. Those are the challenges that like for me coming up in my head during the game because it's game time. Like I was saying before, it's like I want to get these mistakes out earlier, but when it's game time, I have to think of it. So in my head, I'm like, okay, how can we get the ball out quicker? How can we spread out the defense more to make these blitz look a lot more obvious so we know? How can we tire out the D line so I can get a little bit more time that way? Things like that. Um, but yeah, what did Kova say? Need to get on. Yep,
Oh, I,
exactly. Yeah, yeah.
I just
Kova
saw
is.
that.
Yeah, Kova is speaking straight facts. I mean, I've been in those situations. I'm sure, yeah, like Kova has too, especially with the early years of Villagers when they first started, from what I've heard. But yeah, like I think, yeah, when you have that O line and you can really trust them, and knowing the strengths and weaknesses of the O line, that's when a quarterback can really you really see their game. Um, I mean, go back to Kova. I mean, it's the reason why he has the reputation he does, and people call him the young Aaron Rodgers, is because like I feel like when I see his game, it's like he knows, okay, if they have a really strong, you're obviously going to key in on where the pressure's coming from or who their best D line is. So like if he's on the right side, then Kova knows like, okay, like, hey, this guy's having a tough time with this guy. Okay, we can throw a tight end here, but he still might, he just knows where the pressure's going to be, and that makes it a lot easier. To whereas like when you're playing sometimes with a weaker O line, you're like, okay, the pressure could come from anywhere. Now I don't know where to step up. You might have to go backwards. I don't know.
Yeah, I completely agree with both of you. Like Kova and yourself, like playing when I play quarterback. Like I mean, I thought our O line was pretty solid. Like when we first started.
Mhm.
I mean, compared to the athletes now, we were complete garbage because like when I played that one summer, like with my nephew and them, I'm
Oh,
like, damn, this is why I don't play anymore. Like they're
no,
so
no,
strong and
no.
so much faster.
You
But
guys
yeah,
could
but
have,
the
yeah,
O line is pretty important. I
yeah,
would definitely choose it over receiver too.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, and I guess to go back to that point too, like, and the reason why I would choose online too is because I feel like with my wide receivers, I've helped develop like a lot of my wide receivers, and so like there's guys that, for example, like Z Lee, he played slot for us. Like he was like when he first came out, I was like, hey, do you want to play slot? After a couple of practices, he's like, no, I don't really want to play slot. I'm like, okay, that's fine. I'm not going to force you to, right? And then we get, I mean, we have Trevor. We get, his name is Mo. We had this guy, Damon, you know Damon. And then,
Yep.
and so I'm like, yeah, I was like, I told him like, to be like straight up with you, like, it might be a little difficult for you to play on the outside because we have these guys that are a little bit more athletic than you on the outside, and that's kind of what I like. But I'm like, if you want to continue to play that position, that's fine. Um, if you don't, you know, like if you don't want to play it, that's fine. But if you do want to play it, I'll help you play the slot. I'm like what Matt said, slot is the best position, especially in a spread offense, bro. Like in spread offense, the shortest distance is the slot, and so you got to do a little bit more dirty work, but and you don't get as much as sometimes you don't get the flashy plays, but I'm like, you're gonna get a lot of looks because you're my first read, and so then he was just like, okay, like I'll do it because I want to play, and then I want to play and do what's best for the team, right? And then we ran our tier one tournament, and he was like our MVP. He had like two touchdowns every single game, and he just like after that he's like, yeah, I'm never playing on the outside again. I'm just like, I told you. I'm like, I told you, but it was a lot of work. We put in a ton of work. Like I mean, we practiced every weekend, and then he was there a lot, and then during the weekdays we'd go out like once or twice a week, and I'm just telling him like, hey, like this is the route that I like to run a lot. Okay, we just rep. Sometimes like we just rep one route, and that's all we do for like 45 minutes to an hour, and then that was it. and yeah, that would be pretty much it. And yeah, it's just building that chemistry. And so
All
there
right.
was a couple
So
guys that did that. So
so since we're on the receiver topic, who was your favorite receiver to throw to? Not saying the best, but who was your favorite?
my
Like
favorite.
who were you like? That's my Devontae Adams. I'm Aaron Rodgers. That's my Devontae Adams.
Right? Does tight end count?
Oh yeah, tight end counts too.
Tight end counts? Oh man, that's tough then. Let's see. Honestly, I think like it's tough, but I think I would put Jackson in front of Trevor. But I would go Jackson and then Trevor, uh, because like kind of similar to how Z was. When we played with United, I told I told one second, I'm gonna react to this. Jackie. It's not Jordan, sadly. But shout out Jordan though. Jordan is a guy that I worked with a lot to get to. Like he played pretty good too, but he could have been better. He could have been better. But yeah, no, yeah. Surprisingly, Thompson, yeah, Jackson, bro. No, we transitioned him to. He does have stone hands, but I transitioned him to tight end, and he didn't want to play that. But after he played it, after like a tournament, he's like, oh yeah, like I don't want to go back to the outside because tight end's so much easier. And but no, dude, Jackson's a beast. I think he could be. I think he could have been like. He could have been up there with like the Rogers and Corey's. I think of tight ends in Wisconsin, but just I don't know. He just didn't want to play with me all the time. So if he would have played with tier one, man, we would have been a beast.
All
But
right. So
yeah, yeah.
uh, I think I know the answer to this because almost everyone that I talked to said this. But favorite team to play against. Like every time you play them, you're just like, this is like who I want to play. Like I haven't played, but I always tell everyone I love Hellraiser versus Bomb Squad just because I'm always like they're gonna fight.
So wait. So what was the question again? The favorite team that
The
I?
team that you want to play against,
Oh,
like
okay.
when you see them on your schedule, you're like,
Yeah.
yeah, either I'm gonna tear them up or they're gonna give me the hardest uh, competition.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, go back to what Matthew said. Yeah. See Jackson on the corner out. Yeah, that was our thing in the red zone all the time. But and then I guess with that too, like what Matt said, I think BV was always a team that I was excited for, just because like they were I don't know, like they were like I don't know. When we played them, it was always a battle. So like they're a tough team. They're you know that they're gonna come in prepared, um, and like I don't know, like we and I never beat them, right? So like otherwise I would say like demons because they were the top. They were like one of the top teams. Um, but I don't know, BV. Something about BV was like really fun to play against because like I knew that they prepared for me. So then I'm like, okay, what are they like? After like the second time I played them, like I'm like, they completely just changed everything. Like their defense just completely changed. I'm like, okay, like they played me 2 times, and I'm like, they played me the same twice, and the third time I'm like, it's different. So there was one J4 we played on 2 days, Saturday and Sunday, which sucked. But then like Labor Day, right? I'm like, dude, they're giving me a completely different look. I don't like. I was like pretty much stumped. I mean, like not stumped as in like I knew what like I in my head like I had an idea. I had ideas on what we could do, but then I'm like, okay, but these things are like deep into my playbook to where we haven't even scratched the surface because we're just running basic stuff. And so I'm like, man, like in my head, I'm like, dang, like we need to practice more if we want to beat them because obviously I see that they've been putting in the work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, and they were a team that was fun. Another team that was fun was Villagers because they would do this. They would do the same thing too. Like I could tell like they would do like we played in our tier 1 tournament, right? And then they just start running this like psycho package where everybody's standing up and then they're just like walking around and then all of a sudden like, 4 people come or 2 people come and then like I mean that was like that didn't really like bother me too much, but that bothered the O line because then they didn't really know who was coming and they would get like confused with like, okay, who do I take? Who do I like whatever and stuff like that, right? But they would do things like that too, or I would see like Adam like doing like weird things, like I don't know, he'd played middle linebacker or something, he'd like come up and all of a sudden he'd like run to like the side and then he'd come back to the middle and then like run to the I don't know, I feel like he was always doing something random or something like that. Or like and then like another thing too that they do, like I remember as United, like I would run like these zone reads. I always run zone reads. So I'd be running zone reads and like like majority of the teams, like their backside ends are not disciplined, right? So they'll just crash. And then I would like sometimes, like I'll just test it out. So like sometimes I'd give and be like, okay, like, okay, he's crashing, right? And so then next time, then I'll pull it. And then this guy, like, I play him and I'm like, okay, I give it and I'm like, okay, this end is just standing there. I'm like, so I'm just have to give it every time. And so then like, I'll do it a couple times and then I'll be like, okay, I'm gonna pull it just to see if he's gonna bite just like 1 or 2 steps and then he stays disciplined. So there were the teams that were like disciplined were fun to play against because there's always seeing if what like as an offensive player, as an offender, you're always trying to see like, you're always trying to get the defense to do what they're not supposed to do. So it's just like, you wanna hear them get in trouble. That's what I liked. There's times where, I hear defenses like, why'd you do this? Why'd you do that? And it's like they're not disciplined. They don't understand. Like it comes back to practice. They're not set in their schemes to be like, okay, yeah, this is a good play against our scheme, and so it just schematically we lose every time. Like, what can we do to change that, or what can we do about our technique, or what can we do about our reads to defend both of these, or something like that, right? But yeah, those doing things like that's fun. Yeah.
Man, what one of these tournaments, whoever's playing Black Venom, I'm just gonna jump on their team and play against them once. Because like everyone's that's why I said I think I knew what you were gonna say because everyone's answer has always been Black Venom. Like,
Yeah, and I guess like for me that was like my choice because they're still playing. I guess technically, I don't know about Villagers. I don't know if they're officially done yet or not, but that's kind of what it seems like. So yeah, that's kind of where it went. Otherwise, I think Villagers might have been there too because I never beat them. I don't think so.
all right. Next one. Let's see. So I didn't realize that you were that young, man. But would you consider yourself like new school HFF or old school? Like I consider myself old school with the older older
Yeah,
generations.
Yeah, definitely a new school. I mean, like I came in like yeah, and I say that just because like especially with United, right? When I played with United, like I didn't have that leadership. So the first year I kind of just like let I didn't do anything really. I was just like I'm just gonna come in and play. And even though I was a captain, I didn't really say that much. I didn't really do too much. Um, yeah, yeah, Thompson. Yeah, that's. I mean, they're my least favorite team too because I never beat them, but I still like playing against them. But yeah, like I would when I would share my ideas, they're kind of like, oh no, that's not gonna work. That's it's not gonna work, and things like that. And then and yeah, like I have this staple play, and I still ran it even though they didn't really like it schematically. But then and even my running back, K-Fed, he'd be like, he's more. I, it kind of sucked because he's more of like he's not really a catching running back, but I kind of turned him into that sadly. But like he'd be like, yeah, like after running that play a few times, he's like, yeah, this play is unstoppable. And I'm just like, yeah, that's why I like running it so much. After he was, after he got some more simulation and more like more time to like run it and see how it works, he was like, okay, yeah, like I like that too. And it was just a new way of thinking, different way of thinking, and that was kind of like my when I was like, okay, yeah, I'm new school, you know.
Like I said, man, I mean, I always thought I was pretty like athletic and stuff, but man, when we played that summer, I was like, I think it was Steven. He played with I think he played with Villagers and he played with
Oh yeah,
Hill
yeah,
Runners.
yeah,
Yeah, so we had a scrimmage with them, and then like right off the bat, I was playing center, and I'm like, first play, I was like, damn, I'm like,
yeah.
that fucker's strong as hell.
Mhm.
So that's how I always wonder like people that played like back in the day like Thompson and he plays now like I wonder what they feel like. I mean I didn't play for a while and obviously like I got way out of shape, but like when I was playing with the newer guys, I'm just like, dude, they're so fast, like way faster than I ever was, and they're
Yeah,
freaking way stronger than I ever was too. Like it's just crazy how generation gap that is. And I don't think I'm that much
yeah.
older than majority of the people that play now. I mean, I think some of the I mean, oh shit, nah, I'm pretty old compared to them. Some of them I'm like 12 years older than them.
uh, yeah, like what Thompson said. I think. I mean, I don't know for sure. Like, I didn't play back then, but guys like Thompson, like they can attest to it too. But I think, yeah, like what he just said, it's the game is a lot more technical. Um, like the people that are coming in now, like you got guys that have played in like high school. They come from structure, and so then they bring that to their teams, especially these younger teams, right? They bring in that structure. They bring in like, okay, like this is why these plays work, and this is what you need to do. And and you talk about these technical X's and O's, and then and that's why these teams I think have a lot of success, because they break it down, or they'll just watch film religiously and be like, okay, like hey, these are the tendencies of a team. And so when we play them, when they line up like this, oh, they're running this play. Oh, when this guy does this type of motion, we have to key in on this guy. Like, and I feel like those are things that maybe like back then they may not have put that much of an emphasis on. And but you got to be able to do it with a purpose, I think. And so doing it is one thing, but knowing how to do it is another, if that makes
Yeah,
sense.
I think like what you said there was like the best was like that people that are playing now they played organized football before
Yeah.
HFF. Like I played basketball. I didn't play football at all in high school. Like I played basketball, but and I don't think anyone on the original Incredibles actually played high school football. I
Yeah.
think like like we legitimately drew plays on the ground when we were gonna play. Like we're not structured at all that way. But yeah, like I just cannot believe how much better the athletes are. Like they said, I always consider myself a pretty decent athlete, but like when we played that summer, I was just like, holy crap! Like, like, dude, like after I had to block Steven, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna play right tackle. Like, I'm not playing that center
Yeah.
position anymore.
Yeah. 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 No, I mean, like, and as far as HFF goes, like um, we can only like get like for the kids that don't play in high school and stuff like that, like you guys set the foundation for us, you know what I mean? So like that's like as far as like, you know, for you guys that didn't come from that structure and stuff like that and played, like, and I'll give you guys a lot of credit to where you guys got, because you guys played some really good and competitive football too, you know. And so it's just like you guys kind of set that. That's kind of like that was kind of like our floor, you know. And then however we took that, that would be our ceiling, you know. And then guys that played and organized, and then can transition into flag football, and because there is a little bit of a difference in tackle and flag football.
Mm.
I wouldn't say it's too much of a difference, but I think the biggest difference is just philosophies. And so when you can kind of humble yourself when you play structured, to be like, okay, yeah, like this stuff does work. You can be a little bit more loose, or you know, guys don't practice 5 days a week. Like, how can we make this work? Like, yeah, you know, it only makes the game better. It makes these everybody that keeps coming in is going to be better and better. You know.
You know, but yeah, but like I said, man, yeah, I really don't think any of the older teams, maybe Nemesis, just because their O line was pretty legit, but like I said, just like athletic talent wise, like like new generation, like dude, those kids are quick as hell, man. Can't like
Yeah.
that tournament we played in Sheboygan, like I don't even remember who we played against, but like there's a couple times where like I swear to God I was gonna get a sack, but like 2 seconds later I'm like, dude, man, that fucking dude's like 10 yards away from me. Fuck. Like, like that little time, I was like, dude, that's too much work. Yeah, but yeah, those guys are so much more athletic now. It's crazy.
Jackie said, "Did Tier One ever hit their prime?" Jackie,
I'll answer
I'll
that. I'll
say,
answer. No.
yeah, yeah. Straight up, no,
I think tier
because
one was becoming um like a staple Wisconsin team. You
yeah,
know, yeah,
I
because I mean,
agree.
I
Like
honestly, you guys rose pretty quickly.
very quickly,
Yeah,
no offense to like just teams in general, but like I was talking to what was his name? He played Tony, I think his name is. Um,
yeah,
yeah, we'll talk about that. We'll
right here,
talk
Sean.
about that after. But I was talking to Tony from Blue Dragons. I think he played with Demons, maybe. But we played against each other. That's what I think Andrew was saying, referring to about the Trevor catch, right? We beat them in overtime, 2 point by 1 point, going for a 2 point conversion. Um, yeah, like it was a battle, but we talked and we're like, he was like, man, like he was telling me like, yeah, like, you know, this team is it's pretty solid, like, and it's crazy how you guys came up so quick and stuff like that. And I was like, yeah, like, you know, people are talking about Blue Dragons a lot too, you know, um, and you guys have been, you know, been playing. They've been putting up a fight against some teams. Like I think they may have beat Villagers maybe one time in Wausau on Saturday or something like that, and then they put up like a pretty tough fight against BV maybe on that second day on Sunday. I don't recall, but anyways, like they're a tough team, right? They're not like they weren't a team that like, and they were new. And I think the downfall with them is that like they were kind of like they always had like pickup guys, but they had a good strong core to where their core could carry them to. Their core is like was really strong, so it's like you don't want to face them because it's any given Sunday all the time, right? So it's like if they're hot that Sunday, then you know you don't want to face them, even though they're kind of a pickup team and a little bit unorganized. And we were just talking, and he was a part of a winning team, so he was like, "Yeah, like it's crazy to see how you guys came up that quickly." And he's like, "You know, we're kind of trying to do the same thing, and we're able to, you know, be competitive like that too." And he's like, "We're like, yeah, like you know, the teams that have come up, like they usually have a really tough road to come up. Like it's been about, you know, they like when they start to get hot, or when they start to come in their own, it takes them about like 3 years to finally win that J4. But prior to that, before when they actually start, you know, placing and making semis consistently and stuff like that, like it takes almost like 10 years, We're like, and that's a long time, that's a long time ago. So we're like, like I've heard of stories about like, BV before they were what they were, and they're like, like they came from humble beginnings. Um, I know Cole was saying before too. When he first played HFF, he didn't. He was benched, like, and to say that now after how when he first started to where he is now, that he was going to be like the player that he is today, like who would have on their team, who would have thought that, right? But it's the grinding, and so like for a team like Tier One to be able to, okay, year one, go from guys that didn't play a lot to, okay, now we're making semis. Year two, we're still making semis. Like, okay, like yeah, we're still kind of coming into our own and trying to get over that hump. So we didn't reach our prime yet, in my opinion. Like we still needed time. And in my opinion, we're still filling out our roster too. Like we had like a few core guys, I think you would say, but we're still trying to fill out more of our core to see who are our guys. They're consistently at some positions. Yeah.
Yeah, but I thought tier one was I mean with you being Cali, I'm not sure, but but tier one, yeah, I thought you guys rose up pretty quickly from like me not even knowing where you guys were besides my nephew's friends to to like you guys you know getting to what semis twice that one year that we played,
Yeah, I think so. I think we
semifinals
made
in
semi.
Sheboygan, right?
No, 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 no. I think that year. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That year we made semis. Yeah, yeah. That was our
And
second. Yeah, we made semis. Yeah,
and then you guys made finals for your tournament.
yeah. Then we made finals for our
Yeah.
tournament. Yeah,
Yeah, so I thought you guys came pretty quickly. To me, the only downfall of tier one was that you guys had really young dudes.
yeah, yeah. We
Yeah,
we did have really young guys.
like for example, like Jackie. Like Jackie was my
Yeah,
nephew's friend. Like
yeah, yeah.
he played with us
Shout out
first before he
Jackie.
jumped in. Yeah, he jumped in tier one. Like I remember, I used to just like talk shit to him. I'm like I'm fucking like 12 years old and this guy like you know so like I feel like you guys have like way some players just too young. Like it takes time to kind
Yeah,
of
I think.
get that,
Yeah,
especially among sports. To me, like it's not so organized. Like it's legit. After the game, you might get your ass kicked. So like you had to have that fine line. Like I think Thompson messaged before, like Mercenaries Knights like wanted to fight him.
yeah,
Like it
yeah,
was
yeah.
like
I
so
think the
it was
game
one
has
of those
gotten away
things.
from that though. Like the game has gotten away from that. Like obviously you still have that kind of energy, but nobody ever acts on it because, um, like what we were saying before, like more people are coming from like this structure, so like they have more sportsmanship, I guess you could say.
Hmm.
They're a little bit more humble, I guess, in that sense, to where they're not going to actually like act upon their feelings and be like, okay, like we just got our ass kicked, but if he kicked like this team kicked our ass, all right, let's actually kick their ass after the game. Like, teams, I don't know. You hear stories back then of fights, and I feel like sometimes like stuff like that, pride gets in the way. It gets a little bit too
Hmm.
personal. Uh,
Yeah. So like that's honestly why I think that tier one wasn't at the prime yet. Was just
yeah,
some of these guys were like legitimately straight out of high school, and then
yeah.
as
I
much
don't know.
as
I
people
think
say like.
like no, no. I think we still could have made it there. Like don't get me wrong. Like I still think that they needed experience, but I think we were like some guys like Jackie. Shout out to Jackie again. Like he was one of the guys that like we relied on. Honestly, like we relied on him at corner because he was one of our most consistent corners that would show up to practice and show up to games. And so then it's like we understood he had weaknesses though too, obviously like his size. So we're like, okay, like outside of that though, like he was pretty locked down for us. Came up with some big interceptions, big plays. Like there was a play where we played against Thompson, and it was a bang bang play. But he made this play where he knocked the ball out of Ten's hand, and if Ten caught that, um, that could have been game changing. So that was a huge play. No, I don't want to slam again because I'm going to lose.
That's the second request, man. I feel like you have to now.
No. Everybody wants it. No. This is maybe you just baited me because everybody's going to want to see me get drunk on stream.
Yeah, like I said, man, this is a fun show. It's not like your other,
Yeah.
podcast shows. We swear, we drink, we joke, talk shit.
Yeah. I mean, United. That's all they wanted to do is see me drink.
But
Yeah,
speaking of Jackie, yeah, I thought Jackie was he had a lot of heart. Like he
yeah,
was pretty like he always came to practice and stuff like, and he always tried hard. You know.
yeah. Just laughing at the chat.
But yeah, let's go to the next one. Let's see.
Do you want to go back to? I decided I'd go back to the Shong's comment where I almost became Ron's
Run.
quarterback. Yeah. So like that was crazy, right? So like I think I'm playing. It's like one of the times. Oh yeah. So I just like he asked me one time before too. I think I was playing. Hamilton had like this super small tournament where they ran basketball, volleyball, and football. I don't know. They had like some sports complex in Appleton or Kimberly or something. I don't remember. But I was playing basketball there, and then I was played on a pickup team for flag football, and then. But I don't know. I feel like that time that we played, like, I played run a lot, quite a few times, and then, and yeah, so like played him already a few times, and I think it may have been after that tournament though. Sean asked me like, "Hey, what do you think about playing quarterback for run?" And I'm just like, I was surprised. Honestly, I wasn't like, I didn't think like, I mean, obviously like, so going back at that time to bring up, shout out the forums. The forums are kind of like, the forums are dying down, but the forums are still there, right? And so then like, I remember the forums being like, oh, like this last minute, that was our team, right? Last minute, they kind of suck, but they got these two kids. I think his name is Isaac and Trevor. Yeah, they're pretty good. And I was just like, I remember feeling, like, oh yeah, people know me. Oh yeah. But I was like, I kind of had that. I still had like a little bit of pride and whatever. But yeah, he asked me to come play, and then I was just like, no, I'm gonna stick it out with this. But with this Oshkosh team, because I'm trying to put Oshkosh on the map and make Titans. Trying to. People are always going to see like this as like another Titans, but I want to be better than that and show us, be able to do what like Titans weren't able to do. But another reason why too, I told like Jordan this too. I'm like, I felt like RU Run was like pretty tight knit team, and like I felt like whenever I played them, they didn't really like me. So like, I was.
That's how Song is. I know that kid since middle school.
Yeah. I mean, like, no, like Sean was always really nice to me, but like the players would kind of like, just like give me an extra shove sometimes, or say a little something, or kind of just give me a look, and I'm just like, yeah, I don't care. Like, it's football, it's competitive. Like, I understand that. Like, and I don't know. I may chirp back too. I don't know. Sometimes I chirp a little bit, but I was just like, okay, like I don't want to come in and then like ruin the team. So, and not only that, like I was kind of stubborn with like, hey, I want to run this stuff because this is what all I know and this is what I know. And yeah, I in a way wasn't really willing to change that because everything I run is still from high school. So majority.
I mean, I think that stuff works. So, like, you take high school plays, and you put in flag football, like.
Yeah, it works. It's just basically like a. It's more so just like a philosophy and just scheme. It's like
But
a West Coast offense type thing. But yeah.
Do you think it would have been better for you to play for Run than play for the Oshkosh team that you had? Like now, thinking about now.
Oh, yeah. And I guess like a better question would be, do I think it would have been better if I played for Run or if I would have played for United? Because the Oshkosh team was always like a pickup team, right? So we didn't have no structure, and guys were always gonna like get too drunk on Saturday. So with hey, Run wasn't. I mean, I met them now. They're nice guys. They're not shady. I think it's just the competitive nature that comes out. I just felt like they were a tight knit team, and I know how teams are in HFF. They some of them are just our family, and so like you don't want to come in there and then disrupt that. I guess you could say. Um, but anyways, yeah, going back to that question, I think it would be that's almost a better question because when United or when I joined United, I was already like, okay, I'm done with this Oshkosh, like trying to make an Oshkosh team because like it's just not going to work out, right? And so then I remember like Chooch coming up to me and like Munchie coming up to me and they're like, hey, like our age is about to be done. Like, Jackson says that you're pretty good. Like we watched you. Yeah, you got some talent. Like, hey, we're trying to make a team and make a very competitive team. And, we think that you're a pretty solid quarterback. And so, like, the quarterback market is not that not that hot. So it's like really kind of like in their situation, they're like, we think that you're the best choice for us. I was just like, okay, yeah, I'll think about it, right? And then I actually reached out. I think I reached out to Sean and was like, hey, like, I think I'm done with this team. Like, um, is that offer still there? And then I kind of debated about that, and then yeah, I guess the main thing that came down to it was me being stubborn. Like, yeah, not that I don't want to listen to a coach, but like I'm like I want to be able to call my own plays. I want to be able to like run what I want to run and be able to make these
I'm the
adjustments.
same way though. I'm the same way.
But
Like I always scratch my head when a flag football team has a coach. I'm always like, "Can you
I think
coach?"
coaches are very, very important. Like, but it's hard because coaches have to be like very committed. They have to be very committed. They have to like be there all the time, be very present, in my opinion. Like, and then they also have to like really know what they're doing and be able to coach things, right? So like for example, like when I was talking about earlier, right? I've gone against teams that have coaches where I'm running like I tell you, like, I'm running plays where like the way that they're coaching things, it's just gonna beat them. Like you just cannot the way that they're coaching things, like it's just gonna beat them. And the coach is just kind of just saying, well, sometimes I hear them saying things like, oh, well, you just need to be faster, or like, or I don't want to say I hear coaches say that, but I played with people or played like I've been in situations where people will say those things, and it's like, okay, well, if you have a coach that says those things, then it's not like, okay, hey, like I think I'm teaching you wrong, or hey, like let's go back to the books, or let's go back to X's and O's and be like, let's look at our keys and let's adjust our keys. Um, let's drill this better. Let's drill this differently. Because this is what we're always getting beat at. Like I don't think many coaches do that in HFF. There's only a couple coaches that do, and then and I think that's why the teams that have really good coaches like that, it separates them almost, because they
I
have
also
that
yeah,
they have
like
that
I think like
non-biased opinion. Yeah.
yeah, I think like back in the day I wouldn't be good with a coach. Now, yeah, I'd be better. I wouldn't say I'd be good, but I would be like because like I think back in the day like I think I was too stubborn to be like oh yeah, you know what you're saying. Like I'll be like no, come on, like I'm
Yeah.
undefeated in Madden, dude. I can beat you. but yeah, that's how I would be. That's why like when I see coaches, I'm always like, man, like does that guy know more than this guy? Like why would anyone listen to this outside source? But but uh but yeah, like that's interesting that you almost say for Run because some of those guys too, like I know them from just being in Green Bay, like Sean and
Yeah.
them. But I know in Sean's heart, I was his favorite quarterback of all time. So it's okay, Sean. Um,
Uh,
yeah, but that'd be interesting to see if you played for them because I thought Run was they they were pretty dedicated. It felt like they had like I
they
think they
had
were
yeah, I think they had the pieces. Like they were just kind of like a quarterback away, honestly. I feel like to like really see where they were at. Like they couldn't. When I remember playing against them, they always had like somebody different at QB, um, and so I think that kind of hurts. And then that kind of limited to what Sean could call, I guess, too, because
mm,
like then playing with so many different quarterbacks, then he's like, okay, do I call this? I saw them one year like running a lot of jet sweeps and stuff like that, and then I see them running like a lot of short passes, and then one year they're throwing like bombs, and then I'm like, it's just kind of different play styles upon who's playing quarterback.
Yeah, because I mean, you can totally see with Hell Runners how much better they were with Ty at quarterback because
Oh yeah,
he can run all those plays and he can throw. And Ty's
yeah.
actually like he's like one of my favorite like players on Hellraiser, and he's like one of my favorite people on Hellraiser. Like I can actually like conversate with him like outside of you know. But yeah, that like I said that would have been pretty interesting because I know the quarterback that Sean picked for run, um, and stuff like that. So it'd been super interesting if you would have played with them.
Yeah, yeah. I just felt like I would have disrupted their chemistry, honestly, and that was one of the main reasons why like I didn't go on there. Because I think like I was still young enough to where like I'd be a little bit humble.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, man,
to
you're too nice, dude. You've been like everything you've been saying. I was like, man, this guy's too nice, dude. You gotta be a dick. Like I was like Incredibles, like it was like all friends. Like it was like our friends, and
yeah,
then we
yeah,
had like an older brother or a younger brother playing. But like
yeah.
I remember people used to think that we were like crazy because we were like yell and swear at each other, and then at the end of the game we all huddle and laugh and joke and play,
Uh-huh.
whatever the hell we were doing. But like during the game, it was like people were like, dude, these guys are gonna break up after this game, but it's always ends up that's how we are, like we're all
Right,
friends.
right.
Like I
Yeah,
think
no.
all of us were like the same grade or like a year apart. Like
Mhm,
Thompson was our youngest guy,
mhm.
and he was a year older than all of us.
That's funny. Yeah, I like. Yeah, that's nice to have. Like honestly, like I don't know. It's like kind of like a blessing in disguise too, because it's like I didn't really have like that many friends that played. So like when I played, it was always with like a bunch of random people. So I had to build that relationship. So like I had to be kind of nice. But I'd say like I was really nice when I was like first out of high school. So when I played with like United and stuff like that, I was like too nice and too afraid to like not afraid, but I just didn't like really fight for what I had to say. And because I'm playing with older guys who are more stubborn, like and that have more experience than me, like they would just I would have to fight a lot more, And then yeah, I mean, yeah, like I don't know, but I think going to tier one, I was a little bit more like internally, I guess you could say, I was a little bit more meaner than I. That was the meanest I've had to be, but I had to be that way. I've learned that I had to be that way, like. But you learn how to say it nicely. You learn how to say it nicely, you know, like yeah, like telling people why they're not starting. I'm like, I can't just say, "Oh, you suck," And sorry to my guys on tier one, nobody sucks, but I believe in everybody. So I just tell them like, hey, like you just need to come here, and I'll tell them, this is what they need to do, and then see where it goes from there. And it's not just fluff that I'm shooting at them too. It's like, hey, like I think this is where you're weak here. I don't think when I watch you play at practice, you don't really know what you're doing. Like so maybe we need to get you more reps. And if you're not getting, and some guys I wouldn't see get enough reps, so I'd be like, hey, you got to get your reps. And if I'm not going to be here to baby you, like I coached seventh grade one year, so I'm like, I tell seventh graders, hey, rotate every 3 plays, and they do it. And I tell you guys rotate every 3 plays, and you guys can't do it. I'm like, you guys are 18. You're like, most of the guys are like 18. So like, so like, so like, like I'm like, you guys are men, and these are kids, and they can listen to directions better than you. Like I don't get it. You know what I mean? Yeah, and then everybody always talks about this time where they say I made young Sean cry, but it wasn't me. But that situation, I was like, I was like, we were playing in just like a VTC tournament, and then I was like, yeah, you want to come here? What do you want, Cassie? Come here. But yeah, anyways, we're playing, and then I'm like our run play is called like zone right, right? And I'm like, okay, running zone right, like it's gonna be wide open. Like you just need to like, you just need to block got to your right. And then I think like he missed him or something like that, or like he may have taken a step back. I'm like, what are you doing? You know, and he's just like, I'm like, what's the play? And he's like, it's all right. And I'm just like, okay, then move. Like, you move backwards. And then, and then we called him like, and then like we called up play later. I'm like, do you know what you're doing? And then he's just like, yeah, I do. Okay. I'm like, all right. And then like, yeah, he messed up again. But that was just him being him young and inexperienced. But yeah,
That's good,
I was a
man.
little
Too
tough,
nice, man.
little bit tough on him. That was one of my tough experience,
Sometimes you
tough
just gotta.
moments.
Sometimes you just gotta go right at him, man. Like
Yeah.
I coached my son's third grade basketball team, man. I was like, you're not practicing, you ain't playing. Like, I don't care. That's just the way it is. You know, yeah. But but yeah, you know, people's been talking about this Trevor guy. I do apologize to Trevor. I don't remember who he is, but uh, so like, was he really good? Like was he your number one target? There's a story that they want you to tell, but
Yeah.
you know,
So yeah. So Trevor's been playing me from the jump, from the beginning, right? So like when I first made that pickup Ashiashim, he's so like yeah, when I first made that pickup Ashiashim, I was telling Jackson to come play with me. I was trying to poach him from Hellraisers because we played high school football together and we grew up together, right? But he chose Hellraisers over us because he wanted to win. But
hey, why don't I know him?
no. Jackson played with Hellraisers,
Oh,
but
I was gonna say,
yeah, not Trevor. So yeah, anyways, yeah, me and Trevor we played from the jump, from the beginning. Yeah, he's really good. He's the guy that I always just throw it up to, and like if you watch film, yeah, you know who Trevor is. I mean he's one of my non-Asians that I use. So uh, yeah, had easy on Trevor. We played football together. He's just a freak athlete. Like he didn't run track. Oh, let's see. Yeah, he didn't run track until his senior year, and then yeah, ran track and made it to state in 4 events, I think, or something like that. He made it in like Trevor, correct me if I'm wrong, but I want to say he made it in the 400, maybe 200 long jump, long jump or high jump, and then a 4x2 relay or something like that. So that just kind of speaks to like how good he is. Played was on varsity basketball as a freshman, and he basically played with the varsity, practiced with the varsity team since he was in like 7th or 8th grade and stuff like that. Yeah, he like scored all our touchdowns in middle school and high school. So yeah, he's just a beast.
so speaking about non-Asian, how do you feel about the non-Asian rule?
I think it's fine. Like, I think like how I feel about it. Like, I think it's okay. Like, I've thought about it for a long time, especially coming from like with my background. Like I was saying, like not being immersed in the Hmong community, so I don't know a lot of Hmong people, right? So it's just like I'm like, man, it would be a lot easier if I could just pick up anybody and make a team because there's more options to choose from, you know. But I think the more I played, it's like okay, like you know, they're really trying to make it for um, not just the Hmong community, but the Asian community and stuff like that. I see like how it helps, how it can help players and give them and give like these people like just an opportunity that they may not have been comfortable to like pursue before. You know, I guess as far as like playing football, you know, because like how I see football is that like there's nothing you can't like so for example it's like my dream is to play in the NFL, right? And it's just like I'm sure a lot of people have that dream, right? And it's just like what's the closest you can get? Like there's no I mean like there's no league that really compares to like the NFL. Like I mean in the NBA you got like your G League, you got you got your leagues overseas. They don't compare, but I mean it's better than the the subdivisions that football has, right? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So it's like the closest that you can ever get is like for a normal person, right? Is like high school football. I mean, unless you want to play in college, but it's like college is a different experience too because it's just like some people aren't as committed, and then unless you go D1, but for an average person like like me, like us young people, until we can get to the size or become freakish athletes, like that's the closest that we're gonna get. And then some of these kids that grow up, like their dads like love football because they came to America when the Packers were going crazy, so like And so then they grow up watching it all the time, but then they don't have that. They're scared to just like go out and play football and try out because they're not comfortable with the people that are playing, and
Yeah.
there's none of their friends are doing it. Um, so I think this gives them an outlet to be like, okay, I can play. And if we get lucky and we can get these kids when they're like 14, 15, 16, then maybe we can convince them enough, see them what they can do against 18-year-olds, grown men, or they can, to give themselves some confidence and then and maybe possibly try it out. So I think that's where I've seen like that's why I think the non-Asian rule is okay, and I think bringing the non-Asian rule is good too because then like guys can people like that are outside our race can come and enjoy participate in the sport and then enjoy the culture as well. Like Trevor is hitting me up and being like, "Hey, how do you make sticky rice?" He'll be like, "Where can I get some tournament food?" And stuff like that.
That's that the first part you said that I never consider that part of it, which that makes complete sense. What you're
Mhm.
saying, because even say growing up um I grew up in like a pretty much all white neighborhood. Like
Yeah, yeah,
my
yeah.
my best friend was Hmong because he grew up there too. So and then we were like the only two dudes that weren't white playing basketball. And
Right.
I'm like elementary to middle school to high school. So yeah, you said that it does make sense. I never thought
Yeah.
about it that way. The second part, yeah, I see. I didn't like it, or like I was against it just because like I felt like if you get other ethnicity in, um, they learn about our culture, and not say that they are better athletes, but size wise, like you get to play against bigger dudes, that would
Yeah.
benefit us outside of just that tournament, because like once I got to high school, like I was a center in middle school, and then I became a point guard in high school after one summer. It was
Yeah, 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 yeah.
like yeah, so like I had to like relearn everything.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm always like, yeah, it'd be cool to have like you know to remove that rule because I still think there'd be a lot of teams with all monkey eyes or something, and then
Yeah, for sure.
but I don't know. I just
Yeah.
like people's take on it because like in that like your take on it, like I never even thought about it from that point of view.
Yeah,
Besides
yeah.
myself growing up.
Mhm. And I never thought of it like I actually never really even thought of that until tier one, really, because I was always like the way that I was kind of similar to you, except I didn't really have any Hmong friends that played all the sports that I played. So I played it like football. I started off like I started off playing football. I was only like Asian kid, and then I feel like I kind of helped pave the way for like some of the guys that came below me. So like Michael Lohr, if you've ever heard of him, like he came and played. He's only a year younger than me, so I mean we kind of paved the way together. But yeah, like so we came through, and then we went through that little farm of football, for our high school, and then I think that kind of just gave the coaches a lot more like open mindedness and like okay, like yeah, there's a group of talent. Like there's these Moon kids, they're pretty athletic. I mean, they see it. I've heard coaches see it like oh hey, like for example like Jackson, he was pretty athletic too. So you know, our head coach would talk to him all the time, varsity coach, and first time we ever put pads on, they moved him up to varsity because of just his athleticism. So, but yeah, I think going back to what I was saying before, yeah, like with tier one, like Jackie was another example. Like he loves the game so much, but he's just kind of small, and I think he just came in a little bit too late to kind of really figure out like, okay, this is what coaches like, this is what coaches what are looking for, and then not only that, but like okay, like he because I think like in his mind he's like okay, I'm playing against guys that are like way better than this, like because I don't know, most teams in the FBA are more running and stuff like that. And so then the guys that he's covering, he's like, okay. And he kind of gives off this nonchalant, like he's not trying all the time too, which I tell him like, bro, you got to go hard all the time. But then another big thing too is that they don't see, okay, outside of the practice that you have to go to for like 3 hours for like every single day, 3 4 hours, you also have to put in the time outside of practice, which is going into the weight room, which is like 2 3 hours, 2 hours, let's say a day, and they expect you to do that year round. And if you're not doing that, that's just the bare minimum. In my mind, that's just the bare minimum so that you can have an opportunity to play. You know, like the
Yeah.
way that I saw it when I approached high school football is that like I got to do everything the coaches say so that there's no excuse for me not to play. You know, especially when like I know that I know I have a talent. You know, like because they'll use that against you. Like they'll be like, oh well, you know what, you didn't work out. It's because you know they'll keep track of who's in and who's not in. You know, like oh well, you know you missed this many days of workouts, so because of that, you know this other guy's more committed than you, and he's you know put in the work, more work, so he deserves it. But it's like you know sometimes you put in more work than the other guy, and you still don't get that opportunity. You know, or they don't believe in you. You know what I mean? But
Yep.
it's like, but you gave them you gave them no choice but to give you an opportunity, and that's the least that you can do, and that's just what you have to do, you know, just to get that little bit of opportunity. Especially because we're not freakish athletes like Trevor, who can just in seventh grade be playing with the varsity team, varsity basketball.
I got two more questions for you.
Okay,
And a third secret one, so I'll tell you the third one when it comes up. But the next one I got for you is what do you consider your lowest moment in HFF and your highest moment?
man, my lowest moment is tough. Okay, so like my lowest moment I'd say is when hmm, I lost at J4 with United our second time, or yeah, maybe our second year. I don't remember what year it was, but it was no, it was our third year. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was our third year going into our the second and a half after I quit. It was pretty embarrassing. Like we lost two brothers by like 1 point or something like that, and then like we knew that we were gonna get like villagers. So then we are like, shoot, we're gonna get knocked out. And so then that was pretty embarrassing because we knew we knew, yeah, like Tom said, eliminated first day, and it's like we had all this talent, like we have all this skill, but we just couldn't put it together, like, and it was just embarrassing, you know, like because we had this expectation of us to like do very well and to be competitive, but then we couldn't go out there, and it's like we knew that we could have beat brothers, and we're like, okay, we that in our mind we're like, this is what we need to do, this is what we need to do, you know, and we couldn't do it, you know. 1 point, you know what I mean? Like I think it was 1 point. It was a very close game, but it's like it was just a lot of like, yeah, I feel like our team was just kind of like a lot of like bickering with each other, and then just like a lot of like internal clashing. But like I don't blame. Like I put the biggest blame on me. Like I was saying, is because like the quarterback position is so important. You're not just a quarterback. You're the quarterback, the coach, the offensive coordinator, and then the captain too. So you gotta like, you know, you gotta help keep not only like people accountable, but your other leaders accountable. And then yeah, and then you have to be able to come up with the ideas. You have to yeah, do all that stuff, and you're accountable for all that stuff. You know, so like we had help, but it was just I think at that point because um, Peter was helping us coach and helping us with like you know some of that stuff, but we are just at that point it was pretty tough for us because I think we had too much internal conflict and not enough leadership from me to really be like, this is what we need to do, you know.
And then your highest point, and again,
Yeah,
too
oh yeah,
nice.
yeah,
Nice.
yeah. My highest point. I feel like this is kind of like a two-part question. Well, no, I guess my highest point so far, or I guess one of my highs, I guess you could say, was when we beat Demons. That was just crazy. Like Demons was Demons was at the top, like, and we knocked them out, and they were mad.
Is
Um,
this with United or with
this is with
Tier?
United. This is with United. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Demons was done after when Tier One started, I think so. But yeah, we beat Demons, and I think like this is maybe in their second peat. I think. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, so year 2 of United, I'm pretty sure we beat Demons in Labor Day, or no, Memorial Day. Um, uh, yeah, Picasso. We should have listened to him a lot more. But yeah, going back, yeah, like we were what is it? What was I saying? Yeah, I remember that because then I didn't make it first day, right? Because then my sister was doing stuff. She had like she was getting married and stuff, or she was doing like a little like reception type party because she got married back home. So then I had to miss Saturday. My parents wouldn't let me go, even though I could have probably made it, but they were like, so we had to play with our backup, and then they were like, oh my gosh, like I was like excited because we had a couple guys that were playing with us from Reapers, which they're like a team from Milwaukee. So we had Ronnie, he came down. Ronnie, Daniel, and Lucky. That's who they were. So yeah, I remember you guys talking about that Andrew that day. Um, yeah, but and then yeah, and so those guys they were practicing with us a lot, and so I felt really good about that, about playing with them and stuff like that. But yeah, like it was just a crazy game. It was a battle. Like Demons was very very tough. Like they're stout at every single level. Um, they have the D line, they have the linebackers, they have the corners to just kind of stop you at like they'll cancel out like your best player at every position. So that's what was really tough. And then we won on like I'm pretty sure they were mad because it's kind of like a fluky play. So like I ran the play where it's just simple like hitches and outside hitches and then like seam goes or inside seams from our slots, tight end and slot. And so then they started to get a little bit of pressure, and I step up in the pocket, and then I step up in the pocket and I throw it. I throw it over the backer to our slot as he's running, and then he catches it, and he like they're kind of like hip, like our guy kind of got him like a step because then he kind of hesitated when I stepped up, right? So I was able to throw it over and he catches it, and he probably would have gotten down, but when I threw it, I was kind of like close to the line of scrimmage, so like I would look to see if there was a flag was thrown, and I looked, and then everybody stopped. And then everybody stopped, and then Lucky just caught the ball and ran it for a touchdown. And that's kind of like how we won the game. It was kind of crazy. That was our game-winning touchdown. So it was kind of crazy. It's kind of fluky, I guess you could say. But hey, a win's a win. A win's a win, and we beat them there. Yeah, and they didn't have very many losses. I mean, but one of them came from in those 3 years. They didn't have very many losses, and one of them came from us. So.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, and those games are always fun like that. But like, yeah, like another incredible stories is we did that I believe twice against Bomb Squad,
Mm-hmm.
and they called it back every time, and we lost. Like they
Yeah,
called back
that's
INT return touchdown, and I forgot the other one, but yeah, but it's always fun to beat those good teams. So
yeah,
like,
yeah. It's always fun because it's like they give you a.
it was Most Wanted, right? After Most Wanted, they became United, right?
For how United came
Yeah, right.
about? No. It was after Hellraisers.
I thought some of those Hellraiser guys was Most Wanted, and then they became
Oh
United.
yeah, yeah. I think Most Wanted. Some of them turned into Hellraisers, and then Hellraisers then turned into United. But I don't think I think some of the guys don't like saying Hellraisers turned into uh, United, but
Screw those
because I
Hellraiser
don't
guys.
think they don't like to associate with that. But yeah, Jackie, we beat some good teams. Jackie, don't say
Yeah, Jackie, you guys be incredible in a scrimmage.
that.
All right, my next question. I ask everyone this all the time. Top 5 players that you've seen play.
Top five. Just like let's see.
Like,
Okay, top
as long
five.
as you've been following HFF,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
playing,
yeah.
or just watching as a kid, like your top 5 players that you were like, that guy's good, or
Yeah, yeah.
girl,
Uh-huh.
the girl.
I'd say, yeah, yeah. Only a handful of Razors went to United, but a handful seems like the whole squad sometimes. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, but let's see. I'd say
You can start with number 5 and then go to 1.
okay, number five. That's tough. Um, can it be people from my team? I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
I won't do
maybe
that.
it.
I'll go with Almond too. Um, hmm. I would say Mikey from BV. He was yeah, he was really good. Just watching him, he's just like never he's just always poised. So like
What position
just
was he?
never QB.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He played QB. He was like he didn't move a lot and stuff like that. But I mean, his O line was super stout. But like, he didn't have to move because he made all these adjustments. So I mean, he did all the work beforehand so that he didn't have to do anything besides just get the ball to where it needed to be. You know, and he did that very well. So I like watching him. He ran his system very good, and it was kind of cool because like you kind of see him, or I got to see like, okay, like when BV had him, he was kind of I don't know how it was, but it seemed like he was just running the entire offense. And then when they transitioned away from him, you see Sid kind of getting more involved in the offense and trying to get, I think his name is Lee to where Mikey or to a comfortability to where he can run the show. So I think that was pretty. It's pretty cool because I think it just shows how good Mikey was in my opinion. Number four. Oh, who do I want to put in number four? Um, let's see. um, I think it's tough. I should have came more prepared with this question. Um, number four. Number four. I think I'll give respect to some of the D line linemen. I put Dawson number four. I think just because so Dow from he played with us at United. He played with Villagers. He played with Nemesis too, I think, and Traders. But yeah, he's a beast. He's played nose tackle for us, and he just automatic double team. So it's like when you can command a double team when you're already playing O-line it's one-on-one, right? But he was just guaranteed double team because you just have to. You give him a one-on-one, he's gonna get to the quarterback. So like his presence there was very huge, and very impactful. But yeah, Andrew, he does smoke a little bit too much. He would have been better. He would have been better if he didn't smoke, actually. Um, let's see. Number three. Number three. I'll say number three. I'll put Hunter up there, just because in the most like I guess recent years, Hunter's been like just killing it. So Hunter's pretty. I feel
What
like
team?
he's being under. From suburbs. Hunter from suburbs. I feel like he's being underutilized, so that's why I don't put him higher. But when you just look at him, you're like, man, that dude's just a beast. And then you see some of the plays that he makes, like some of the jump balls, and he plays every position. So it's like you see him a lot because he played. We played against him in Wausau, and like their guys were like all hungover or something like that. I think, or I don't know, maybe they got the time wrong. And then he came there, and then he had to play center. He was playing like linebacker, and then he was playing. And then he finally, as his team came like halfway through the game, he was finally able to play like safety or play more of his true position and not having to compensate so much for having guys out of position. And then he didn't have to play center anymore, so he could actually play wide receiver. But I mean, even then, like it was still hard and competitive.
Yeah, I
I think
think
it
he
just
was
goes
on
to
ball
show.
too.
Yeah, he was on Monk's list. Let's see, number 2, man. See, number 2, I think I'll put Kova up there. I'll put Kova up there. Kova's always, he's like I said, like when we played against him, it's always tough. Like he's got so much like he's got a lot of composure too, but like he's different because it's like he's kind of like I feel like a little bit more backyardish. So like if his first read isn't there, then he'll kind of just run around and make something happen. You know, he's not so systematic. When Mikey's gonna be like, all right, 1, 2, 3, boom, balls out, 1, 2, balls out, 1, balls out, or he's gonna be like, Mikey's gonna be like, hey, call they have like dummy calls, they have like all these like random calls. So Mikey will be giving out signs and be like, blah 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 blah. Okay, ready, blah 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 blah. Okay, go. And then the ball's out, and it's like, okay, and then like, so that like that's what I liked about Mikey, but Kova's very like, and that's a more technical side, and Kova's more of like an entertaining side. So you watch him, it's like, oh yeah, it's fun to see him run around and then throw the ball, and then see the quick wide receivers just make a guy miss, or you see, big guys like Roger and Corey make a guy miss and then take it all the way to the house, and it's just like, it's fun, to watch. And then a guy that's a little bit, so then going back to number 1, then a guy that's a little bit of a mix of that for Mikey and Kova, in my opinion, is Jerlau from Demons, and I think now he plays with Plaza Boys. So yeah, I think in my opinion, I think Jerlau is probably the best quarterback to ever play HFF right now, and I say that to like me and Andrew talk about it sometimes too, just HFF, and I tell him that all the time because I think his combination of like smarts and then his arm talent, like I think he's got everybody beat. Like in smarts, I think like everybody's smart in their own way, but arm talent, he's got everybody beat. I've seen him throw these dots that are like so there's one time Plaza's like a pretty young team. Like I think they're all like maybe just like fresh out of high school, early college. But this time they like just started, so they're probably like fresh out of high school, right? And then they're trying to groom this other quarterback to come in, and then he gets hurt. Gerald comes in, and then he throws this deep post, right? And he throws it, and it's like he's in a shotgun, and this post is maybe like already like 30 yards out, but he throws it right on a line and hits the guy. The kid didn't turn right out of his cut, puts his hands up, boom, hits his hands, and it's just like he's just like the ball came too fast. I'm like, and I saw it right in front of my face. I'm like, yeah, that ball came in super fast. After I saw that, I just had even more respect. I mean, I watch him play a lot, but after I saw that like up close in person, I'm like, okay, like yeah, that he's got that talent. I mean, and I've seen him do a lot of things too, where like he just does things like technically right to when he's throwing on the run. He's just got the zip, like the zip that like these analysts talk about when they evaluate quarterbacks, or like when they talk about Rodgers, it has that zip. When they talk about like Herbert, it has that zip, and you don't hear them say that about a lot of guys. You know what I mean? And it has that pop when he throws it. Like that is Gerald. Like he's got that in his bag, like in his arm talent, and it's like, yeah, that's what separates him because he can do that. He can throw it on a. He can touch it. He can throw it anywhere. That allows him to throw it everywhere on the field. So that's what makes it fun too. And then you see him, especially when he was with Demons and they were doing he was doing see like Jackie said, dude, that ball came too fast. Jackie was saying my ball comes fast, and Jackie was like, oh yeah, I can't catch your ball comes too fast. But yeah, Gerald comes, yeah, I don't even compare to him. But
Really?
yeah, like
I
yeah,
thought I think I don't know, your passes are pretty legit. Because I
like
don't remember. I was on your team when we were playing that time, and I was like, damn, this guy can throw pretty good.
so I think with me, right, I thought a really like nice tight spiral. Like it usually comes in a tight spiral like all the time, and then I have pretty decent, like pretty good like touch passes, so I can throw it to spots pretty well. Um, but I can't throw it like really like on a line that well. So like for example, like if they're gonna run like a go route on the on the numbers, and I have to zip it in there, I have to throw it early so that it gets to a spot. Whereas Jerlau, he can wait a little bit and see it and then throw it, and it's going to get there right away. If that makes sense, I don't know. That's like the best way to explain it. You know.
Yeah, because that's
Um,
you're the first person to mention him between all the people that I've talked to. Like,
yeah,
I
yeah. I think he's a little. Well, he was like super athletic too, from what I heard. I think he played like wide receiver back then, also before he
uh
played quarterback. But yeah, yeah. He's in my opinion. When I watch him play, I'm like, man, he's got the arm like most talented arm talent. Yeah, and that and obviously he's got the three-peat. So what like in my opinion, how do you put him against? How is he not the best in my opinion? So
yeah. All right, and then that's a nice top five. A lot of people that I've heard, some of them I haven't, but I'm
yeah,
hoping that to go forward, I learn more about some of these players.
yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
the final question now is: are you gonna slam a beer with me? You know,
Oh,
this
I
is
don't
the
have
fourth.
a I don't have a beer. My uncle. So funny story, right? I go and I'm trying to buy some beer for this, right? And then just so that we can drink too, because we're gonna eat after this. And I go to the place, and then I still have my Wisconsin ID, and so I go there, and then they're like, "Oh, apparently they have a book that they use to verify IDs. They can't just scan my barcode on the bag, and so they're like, "Yeah, you can't buy this because we don't know where our book is. So sorry." I'm just like, are we living in the 70s or something like that? You're using a book to verify my ID. You can't just scan it with the barcode. Like I've never had this done before. So yeah. Luckily, my uncle had one
So
for
that's
this.
why that nickname sticks, man. The babyface killer. Still, it's gonna go viral because I said if people have seen Isaac play, he legit, like I said, legit one of the better quarterbacks that I've seen play HFF, and then one of the better basketball among players that I've seen play too. So I'm not, you know,
You gotta see more people play. I think that's it.
see, no one played when I played back then. So now
Yeah,
there's all tournaments, but back then there was like Sheboygan. That was it.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
and so I just played with the schools.
yeah.
But hey, thanks for being on.
Thank you for having me.
Like I said, definitely will have you on again because the knowledge that you have with this is awesome. You got more insight than from you than from all the previous because a lot of people I talk to are from Green Bay and like I said on multiple podcasts is that I am a little bit more biased towards the Green Bay one just because I grew up watching all those guys and playing with all those guys. But
Mhm.
I say it's nice to have your point of view from again. Did not realize how young you were compared to me, but holy crap, from a younger person, which is awesome. So cheers to you. I'm not gonna slam this since Isaac's not slamming, and I hope.
Yeah, sorry. I don't have a beard slam. Otherwise, I
Uh,
would just for the guys.
but yeah, definitely. I think I got to get you and Trevor on together, man. Like,
Yeah, yeah. I can see if Trevor has some time. But,
yeah, one of these days I got to get you and Trevor on, and then we can just talk about your guys' team, instead of covering the whole basis of HFF, just
yeah,
your guys coming up and playing that you guys played now. Was he on tier one?
yeah. He was on tier one.
Yeah, I don't know why I don't remember him.
Because tier one, so we had our first year we had Damon, we picked up Jake, our Korean wide receiver, really beastie, and then we had Trevor and then Ball. So they were supposed to be like our four wide receivers, but just life. Just life. We could never had four of those receivers in at the same time.
Hmm. But yeah, but I said I like to do dual. I didn't. Like I said, I didn't even know that you were out in Cali until recently.
Yeah, no,
But
it's
yeah,
all good.
definitely get you and Trevor on.
Can you bring me a spotted Thompson?
But yeah, again, thanks Isaac for being on.
uh,
For all the watchers and commenters, like awesome. This is by far our most successful
yeah,
one.
yeah. Bring in Mongi. feel like
We're trying to put out some merch, so you guys can see Bruce Lee. He's got some pretty cool T-shirts on. We got the secondary Incredible shirts here, and then again, Isaac, thanks for being on. Nickname Babyface Killer. Trust me, he would destroy you guys in basketball. Guarantee it. Any last words, Isaac?
no, just keep doing what you do. Yeah, it's always interesting. It's fun to talk HFF, and like my perspective is I think like a little different just because I played quarterback and then try to start a team and do all that stuff. And so yeah, and then my background is a little bit unique too. So yeah, but I hope that yeah, people listen to this and find it entertaining and some insight to what it's like and how much practice is important.
Important guy. Swear to God. All right. All right.
Yo, tier one, shout out tier one. All right, thank
All
you.
right. Thank you, man.
Bye.